Welcome to my Texas hog hunting adventure story. Today is April 28th, 2024. In 1 week, on May 6th, I will be leaving my home here in central Minnesota and driving 16 hours to a town about 20 miles to the west of Abilene, Texas, to go hog hunting. Hogs are a huge problem in Texas. They are destroying all the vegetation that the Texas ranchers and farmers need to raise their crops and their cattle, and it's becoming an increasingly difficult problem to manage. So what they are offering is tagless hog hunts. I am going to a ranch that is privately owned for a semi-guided hunt. My package includes the lodging and two hogs, and they will not butcher, but they will clean and dress them for you for a small fee, or you could do it yourself. They have all the necessary items to do the work there. Since I have never done a hog hunt before, I've never hunted any animals except for deer. I don't know the first thing about cleaning and dressing a hog, so I will pay them to do it. But that package includes two pigs. So what I plan on doing is shooting two, and if I can, I will shoot the small or keep the smaller of the two because it's a 17-hour drive back home. Plus, I'm actually going to make a stop in the Dallas area to visit a family member. So I don't have the space to haul two pigs. So what I'm going to be doing is they have a donation program. Well, they'll donate the meat to a food shelf of some kind, and they will clean and dress it just like before. You still have to pay the fee, but the second pig is included in the package. Now, I own a small Honda Accord, and there's no way all the gear plus the cooler with the pig in it will fit in my car. So I'm actually going to be renting a medium-sized SUV, and the intent of that is, one, I'll have the needed space I need to hold all of the gear and, of course, a big cooler with the hog packed in dry ice. The idea is to drive from my home here to Topeka, Kansas, which is about 8 hours away, and then shut down there for the evening, so to speak, and get rolling again about 4:30 or so in the morning, and get into the ranch about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. The first day that I will actually arrive there is on the 7th of May, which is the Tuesday. They require everyone to be there the day before the hunt because the ranch has a safety program and training that you have to attend, which makes complete sense. And hopefully I'll get some pointers while I'm at this orientation as far as where to shoot the hogs and what kind of distances I can expect. And you have the option of doing a ground blind hunt or a tree stand type hunt or a ground walk and stalk. My personal choice would be the tree stand, only because it's elevated and you can get a wider view of the area and you can see more. I am taking 3 guns with me, mainly because I have one for my own personal protection when I'm on the road, and then I'll have 2 for the actual hunt. I'll give you a quick overview of the equipment I'm taking. First thing I'm taking is my AR-15 rifle. It's a 5.56 223. They will allow AR-15s, but you cannot use full metal jacket ammunition. They request or require that you use an expanding tip bullet, mainly because the 5.56 223s are small, and so they don't carry as much weight and hitting power as, say, a 308 would. So the goal is to shoot them in an area that will cause the most clean and ethical kill. So I've looked at several different hunting websites for specifically for hog, and one of the types of ammunition they suggest is this Winchester deer and antelope. It's a bit small for the hog, but it'll still do the job, provided you try to get your shot within 200 yards. Anything more than 200 yards, and your bullet's going to lose too much velocity, and it'll hit, but it won't cause as much damage. Thereby, the pig could potentially run away wounded, and you never find the thing, and it takes days or weeks to die. And that's not what you want. You want a clean, efficient, ethical kill. So some of these sites recommend shooting with that small caliber, like right behind the ear. So you take out the brainstem. You take out the brainstem, the hog will drop and will die right then. Or shoot them in the vital organs, which ideally you want to have a broadside shot. And the broadside, just behind the front shoulder, is where the heart and lungs are. But these wild pigs have basically a plate of armor where their shoulder is, so that is not the most ideal spot for a small caliber. Bigger caliber like a 308 or a 30-06 or a 300 Blackout wouldn't be a bad shot placement. And another site recommends shooting the spine. So if you aim between the shoulder and the head at the spine, and you take out the spine, the hog will drop. They might twitch a little bit, but they'll drop. And if you miss too far to the left or to the right, you'll either hit the head or the vitals. So that's what they recommend as the ideal shot placement. So I'm taking my AR-15, and I'm also taking my 12-gauge shotgun that shoots slugs, 3-inch chambered slugs, and that I probably wouldn't take a shot more than about 50 yards with one of those, mainly because they're slower and heavier, and I want to have a short distance. I don't know if I'm gonna shoot with the shotgun on the Monday, or excuse me, on the Wednesday or the Thursday. I'm probably going to use the AR on the first day and the shotgun on the second day, unless I shoot two the first day. If I shoot two the first day, then I probably won't even stay for the second day. It'd be pointless at that point because I've already got what I need, and then I'll just head on into Dallas and then spend a couple days instead of just one day with my family member. I'm taking my 45 caliber pistol, which I will use for my own personal defense. That way, if anything were to happen on the drive from where I live to the ranch and vice versa, I'll have my own personal protection. It's kind of hard to go get the AR-15 out of the gun case because it'll be padlocked and stuff in the back of the SUV. But I have a permit to carry, so I will be carrying my personal weapon. And most of the states that I'll be traveling through, with the exception of my home state, are a constitutional carry anyway. So once I get out of my home state, I don't need the permit anymore, but I'm still going to have it with me. I am taking a set of binoculars. They're not super high end, but they'll get the job done. I mean, within reason. I'm not going to be shooting 500-600 yards. So I'm taking a pair of binoculars with me. I am taking a laser rangefinder, mostly because I want to shoot in a way that is accurate to the distance. I mean, you can do range estimation, visually, but with the rangefinder, then I have the option to, be a little more precise, and that way I can make sure I'm shooting within that 200 yard distance that I'm comfortable at. I'm comfortable shooting 500 yards because I did that in the military. That's not a problem. But the AR-15 that I have is a shorter barrel than the ones I carried when I was in the military. Because the ones I carried in the military were 19¼ inches, and the one I'm carrying now is 16 inches. So it's about 3 inches smaller, and those 3 inches make a huge difference in distance accuracy. The rifle is equipped with a scope that's specifically designed for AR-15s. So the idea for that is I can make a quick adjustment from 1 to 200 yards with a quick turn of a knob. It also comes equipped with a laser, but I'm not doing any night shooting as far as I know, unless they offer it as an option. If it's an add-on, then I probably wouldn't do it, but if it's available for anyone, if they want to do a night shoot, then I'll use the laser, because it's really hard to see. Even though the scope has an illuminated reticle where you can change from red to green, it's not ideal for shooting at night because it's not thermal or anything. So, but I do have the laser that's attached to the scope itself. It's not zeroed, but at least it'll get me a rough idea where the bullet should hit. I'm also taking a load-bearing vest, very similar to the H harness that I wore in the Marine Corps. It doesn't have the clips like would clip onto a duty belt. It's all one unit. And the idea is that if I do decide to do a walk-in stock, then that will support all the weight of my extra magazines, my water source, and my pistol, and that way I don't have to worry about carrying a bunch of stuff. It'll just basically sit on my shoulders, and it comes with a big thick belt. It's MOLLE attachments, so that way I'll take all the weight off my hips and transfer it to my shoulders, which are better for me. I'm also taking some different types of camouflage, depending on what type of hunt we actually do. My regular, hiking boots, my hunting camouflage pants. And I've got 3 shirts. I've got a long sleeve cotton shirt. I've got a short sleeve cotton shirt, and I've got a long sleeve that's kind of, I forget what kind of material it's called dry fit, I think. It's really light material. And then I've got some camouflage gloves, hat, netting. So the idea is to blend in with the environment that you're in. Now, pigs have a horrible vision. So that's not my main concern. My main concern is smell, because all these are scent elimination style, and the idea is to conceal your human scent, and then that way they don't notice you as readily because they have a really strong developed sense of smell. I'm also taking about 100 rounds of 223, 30 rounds of the shotgun, and of course just my regular load for pistol. 2 magazines in a holder, and then the actual weapon itself. I have a shoulder harness for in the car, so it's a lot more comfortable than having a pistol on your hip the whole drive down there. Like I said, it's a 16-hour drive, so the idea is when I'm driving, I'll just take the pistol out of the holder and put it in the glove box or something where it's secured, but it's also easily accessible if I were to need it. I mean, I always hope that I will never need to use it, but if that situation ever were to come, I want to be ready. Because it's such a long trip, there's a couple of options and ways I could get there. I could go straight down Interstate 35, basically to Oklahoma, and then take a small road, a chute up that goes out to the actual area in Texas. Or I could take the turnpike. Now, I chose to take the turnpike through Kansas and Oklahoma because one, it has a higher speed limit, and two, there's a lot less traffic on the turnpike because people don't want to pay to take the toll road. So I had to send a request to Kansas, and I got this thing. It's called a K tag, and what it is these little barcode deals, and they had to send me two because I'm taking a rental car, and I didn't know what license plates that would be on that car, obviously. So I when I went to order, I just wanted one just for the rental car, and they asked for the license plate. So I was like, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. So I sent them an email saying, hey, I have a question about driving a rental car and getting a K tag, and they basically said, we'll send you two, they're free, and we'll send you one that's assigned to my personal car's license plate, and we'll send you one that's not assigned, and then you just go on their website where you would go to pay the toll, and then just change the correct tag to match the match the license plate. So that way, I can. All it really is, if you look at it, it's just a little piece of basically hard plastic with some adhesive on it. So you just stick that to the back of the windshield, the driver rearview mirror, and as you drive through these toll booths, it reads that sticker, and then it just charges you for the toll. And if I did my calculations right, taking the turnpike all the way across Kansas is only $17. So, I mean, it seems like, I don't want to pay $17, but at the same time, I don't have to deal with all the traffic and stuff going through the main cities. This kind of bypasses that. And that was my ideal. Is I'm not a voyage out and explore driver. I like to do road trips, but I like to get where I'm going and then do exploring. And then when I'm on the way back, I just want to get back so that I can recuperate from the drive. So my car, I said, was too small. So with the SUV, I'll have enough space so I can recline the seat and then sleep for 4 or 5 hours in one of these service plazas that they have on the toll road. And then these rest areas, they're basically rest areas, and I can get some sleep, because I generally work Monday through Friday, but my Mondays are short early days, so I start really early in the morning. I mean, I start work at 3 a.m. and I'm usually done by 11. So my goal is to get done with work, come home, change out of my work clothes, and then have the rental car company, they'll come and pick me up, take me to get the car, and then come home, pack. I want to be on the road by 2. Now, 8 hours from 2 will get me there about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, depending on how many times you stop for fuel and restroom breaks or whatever. So when I get to Topeka, that's the goal. And we'll see when I get to Topeka if I still feel okay. Because that's a long day. I mean, you're starting basically at 2:30 in the morning, going all the way to 10 o'clock, that afternoon. So my goal is to make it to Topeka, and then sleep in the car, and then, like I said, get rolling about 4:30 in the morning. That way I can get into the ranch. They do not provide food, so I have to stop somewhere along the way and get some groceries. But they have a fully stocked kitchen with pots, pans, dishes, and refrigerators. So I am planning on there's a Walmart, they said it's 12 miles from the ranch. So I'll just swing into that Walmart when I'm, just a little ways away, grab some groceries to last me basically 2.5 days, and then drive on. I am also taking a small cooler. It's I don't know, what do you call it? 5 or 10 quarts. It's only, so big, a little igloo cooler. That way I can put in some drinks and make some sandwiches and stuff for snacks. That way I don't have to pay for food like at a gas station or something. I can just, have some food in the cooler, and that way I'll save some money if I make it myself in my house before I leave. So my goal is to have everything packed, ready to go, car fueled up, and then on the road by 2. That way I have plenty of time. Things happen. You hit construction or you hit traffic or there's an accident or whatever. So these kind of things will slow you down. So I want to give myself enough time. They really don't need you there till like 5. I want to get there at 3. That way I have that little 2-hour buffer of like a safety window. And that's pretty much what I'm taking. I mean, I'm taking some other things too, like insect repellent and sunscreen and basic necessities, hygiene, my medications. I have sleep apnea, so I got to bring my CPAP machine. So what I have a backpack that it has MOLLE attachments. So I have my backpack, and inside the backpack I'll have like rain gear. I'll have the bug spray, the sunscreen, those kind of things, my binoculars in the backpack itself, so I could just throw it on, and then, I don't have to worry about carrying a bunch of stuff. And then my rifle, and my load-bearing vest, and then, of course, my clothes. But I'm also bringing my, personal belongings because, I'm not going to be hunting the whole time, and in between driving, I'm going to be, doing other things. So I'm bringing, change of, clothes, a couple of shirts, a couple of pairs of pants, undergarments, necessities, that kind of stuff, my medications, everything. So it's going to be a lot of stuff, and I probably won't need a third of it, or half. But like the saying goes, it's better to have something and not need it than need it and not have it. So, like the Boy Scout motto, be prepared. I am trying to be as prepared as absolutely possible. It's not always possible, but we'll see what happens. On that note, I'll have the next update once I'm on the road. So, I hope that this is enlightening, and we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks.
The day finally arrived. Today is the 6th of May 2024. I've been on the road for about 2.5 hours now. I'm just north of the Iowa border on my way down to Abilene, Texas for my much anticipated 2-day Ferrel Hog Hunt. I have 1,015 miles to go. In about 400 miles I'll make it to the halfway point or so, and I'm going to shut down in Topeka, Kansas for the evening, and then continue on into Abilene tomorrow. Expect to arrive there about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It is currently about 10 after 6 here in very south central Minnesota. I am just cruising along. Finally got out of the city area. The traffic was a mess, all the construction and nonsense. So right now I am just on I-35, just about to cross into Iowa. I will give you some more information once we get into Topeka. Stick around.
Well, I made it to the spot no sooner than I get in my blind and barely even start getting set up when a whole group of pigs came out. I waited and watched, and I was trying to get one all by itself, and they almost never stop moving. So I finally got one to hold still long enough for me to get a shot at it, and I took the shot. I don't know if I hit it. They all kind of ran off to the I'm guessing the south side. I'm not sure which direction I'm facing, but it was 60-ish yards away. I kind of shot it at the head, so I'm gonna let it wait for a few minutes, and then I'm gonna go out and see if I can't find a blood trail. In the meantime, we'll just wait and find out what happens to see if any more come out. It is currently about 6:30 in the evening. Just got to my second stand for the night. The first one I shot at a pig. I think I hit it, but I couldn't find any blood except for a very small area with a couple of drops, like maybe a teaspoon worth of blood. So I walked off into the woods in different paths and couldn't find any more blood. So I'm assuming that if I did hit it, I just wounded it and it didn't die, and who knows how far it could have run or how badly it was hit. So consequently, I didn't get a pig yet. I've got tonight and tomorrow morning, and if I want, I can go ground pounding in the mid-morning, early afternoon, and see if I can walk up on one. But as of right now, I'm just gonna sit here in the stand until either I shoot one or they come pick me up. They usually pick you up sometime between 9 and 10 p.m. So it'll be just after dark, maybe an hour after sunset. So hopefully I'll see them now before the sun goes down and it gets too dark to shoot. I had used the AR for the morning hunt, but I brought out the shotgun for the evening hunt. And this one does not have a laser on it, but I do have a light that's mounted on it, and as far as I know, it's not illegal to use a light. So I'm just going to sit here patiently and hopefully we'll see something. If nothing, then we'll try again tomorrow. Today is Thursday. This is the morning of day 2. I shot at a pig last night, but I missed. And then I saw a clump of them about 60 yards, kind of off to my 2 o'clock, kind of behind some scrub brush. So I got out of the blind and I kind of tried to sneak up on them and get a closer shot, because the sun was just going down and I couldn't make them out clearly in the sight. So I tried to get a little closer so that my gun light, because I have a light mounted on the gun, could get a better picture. And then I got probably within 15 yards and then I knelt down to take the shot and my magazine fell out. So
they startled, and that's the only shot I had. So no luck day one, so we'll see what day two does for us. Today is day two, the night hunt. The morning hunt, there was nothing, absolutely nothing moving. It was so slow. All I saw was a few birds, nothing, no squirrels, no hogs. So, it wasn't very productive. And then we got back to camp, I don't know, about 10:30-ish. And I needed to charge up my phone because I forgot to charge it last night. And I went out for a ground walking stock hunt out in the boonies by myself. I barely got 200 yards out of camp, and then there was two big boars standing on the road, and I took a second to get the laser rangefinder out, and I lased them at 155 yards, which I'm comfortable at shooting, but I wanted to try and get a little closer. And as I was trying to get closer, my phone rang. So that kind of spooked them a little bit, but they were still kind of hanging around. So I got about another 25 yards, so about 110 or so yards away, and they kind of just wandered off into the woods. And I did some walking. I walked for about an hour and a half. And I came back to the same spot because you have to go right past it to get to camp. So I said, well, let me stop here and just see if anything happens. So as I'm standing there, the same two boars walk out, and I'm standing by the same clump of bushes I was before, 150 or so yards away. So I started moving in, and they got spooked. So when they got spooked, instead of me just backing off, I slowly crept in closer and closer, and I found a nice bit of cover and shade because it was pretty warm underneath a tree that was about 50 yards away from where I last saw them going to the woods. So I figured, well, let me just sit here and we'll see what happens, see if they come back out. And I sat there for an hour and a half and nothing. So I made it back to the camp, and then we had a little time off because the morning hunt starts at 6 a.m. and the evening hunt starts at 6 p.m. So it's like 3 o'clock or so when I got back in, and I waited for about, I don't know, 2.5 hours, and then I geared up, and then we just headed back out, and they put me at, this time I'm at a stand they call Trojan. It's a little off the beaten path, and they say it's a pretty good spot. So they did say, because it's not super windy, but it's kind of hot, that most of the hogs are hiding right now. And once you get closer to sunset, like within about an hour or so of sunset, they'll start coming out. So I'm going to sit here and wait patiently, and hopefully I'll get a shot tonight. And this is my last hunt for the trip. So we'll see what happens. Today is Friday morning. Last night, night hunt, I had a big sow in front of my blind for at least an hour with two little piglets, and the place that I was hunting at does not allow shooting sows that have piglets. I mean, you can shoot them, but you got to pay an extra fee. It's like $10 per teat, and if they got 8 teats, that's $80 extra. And I could have taken a shot at any time I had that thing within 20 yards, and it would have been just I could have just taken my pistol and shot it in the head and been done with it, but I didn't, and I let it just sit there, and it moved off. And then, I don't know, 10 minutes later, 4 does came into the stand, and they were just chilling in front of the stand for a good 15 minutes, and And I'm thinking the whole time, like, I wish this was deer season, because that would have been easy shooting right there, because they were literally 20 yards from the ground blind. Just as the sun was beginning to get behind the tree line where it was getting really hard to see, I did see 3 or 4 pigs moving from my left to my right at the edge of some brush, about 60 to 65 yards away. And in desperation, I aimed down on them, and they stopped. Well, one of them stopped right in the perfect shooting spot, and I pointed my rifle at it, and then I fired off a shot. But then when I went to go track it down, I couldn't find any blood. So either I missed, or I hit it in a place that didn't bleed much, or I shot it and it fell into the brush and I couldn't see any blood trail at all. So 2 days and 2 nights, 4 hunts total in the ground blind, 3 shots taken, 3 misses, and then on the ground walk, I could have taken at least 1 or 2 more, but I hesitated, and they went off in the tree line. I never saw them again. So all in all, I didn't get any hogs of my own, but thankfully there was a guy that just came just to shoot for fun. He didn't care about the meat, he just wanted to go out and shoot, and he shot one the first night with night scope, and gave that to some other hunters that were out there. And then the next night he came back and he shot one and he gave it to me. So I've got meat in the cooler. I mean, that's all that really matters. And then right now I'm heading into Abilene. I need to stop and get dry ice, and I need to get some butcher paper, and I gotta wrap them up because it's a long drive back to Minnesota. So not as lucky as I hope, but at the same time, I had fun. Next time, if I would ever come back, I don't want to come back by myself. This really being the odd man out, I want to bring some friends with me, so I think we'd enjoy it more. But I think I'd come back earlier in the year, maybe, or later in the year, like October, November time frame, like right before deer season, or like March or April, because it was really hot for a couple of days, unseasonably hot. So they didn't really want to move too much. So we'll see if I come back, and if I do, hopefully I have some friends come with me. So now, once I get to Abilene, I'm gonna make that stop, get dry ice, and get the butcher paper. Then I gotta move on to Dallas. So much for my hog hunting trip.
Today is Monday, the 13th of May. I made it home last night about 6:30 in the evening. I was exhausted. I could barely even keep my eyes open. And I got home, got the truck unloaded, got the meat in the freezer, except for the back straps, which I am going to be chopping into pork chops today. Then I'll freeze them. I was really surprised that the dry ice that I bought in Abilene lasted basically for 2 days, because I left on Saturday afternoon, well, Saturday evening, but I put some more dry ice in there on Saturday afternoon, and I originally bought 3, I think there were 4-pound blocks in there, and they were still probably 20% of it left. So I put in 3 more blocks of dry ice that same time, and I felt really weird, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I don't know if it was an allergy or something. I just felt like short of breath, and my heart was beating weirdly, it felt like. And I didn't put two and two together until I opened the cooler to put in the new dry ice, where all the evaporated dry ice that was in the cooler came out, and I felt that same way. So what I believe was happening is I was breathing in some of the outgassing from the dry ice in the car, and that was causing me that weird feeling. So what I decided to do was, when I stopped for the night, in the morning when I leave, I was going to get some just bags of regular ice to stick in the cooler that would get me to the rest of my way home, because I wasn't going to be stopping anymore except for fuel. So I stopped in Wichita, Kansas on the way back, and I went in and bought 2 bags of ice and put them in the cooler. And then when I got home, 10 hours later, those 2 bags of ice were frozen solid, and so was the meat. So that dry ice really, really did a nice job of keeping everything safe and cold, and I was really impressed with it. But yeah, so I think that's what was causing me to feel that way, that weird nauseous and headache. And anyways, I got it home. While I was in Dallas, I spent some time with my sister and her husband, and we went to this place called the Texas Gun Experience. This place is absolutely insane. If you're like me, and you enjoy guns and are a big supporter of the Second Amendment and people's right to defend themselves and hunting and all these other things, this store is the place. It's like the size of, I don't know what you want to call it. Think of a Walmart. Not quite that big, but like a big box store. But it's all firearms related, and they have like several different ranges, indoor ranges. They have just about every kind of gun you can think of. They've got a wall that's probably 30 or 40 feet long and 10 feet tall, glass cases of fully automatic machine guns that you can rent and shoot. So I rented one. I rented an MP5, which is a submachine gun, shoots 9mm. I'd never fired one before. They had some guns that I had fired before, like the M249 SAW, which I fired when I was in the Marine Corps. Also,
Let's go
the
for
M240
full auto.
Golf machine gun. Actually, no, sorry, they had the M240 Bravo. I fired the M240 Golf when I was in the military. They had a replica 1877 brass Gatling gun. They had a minigun. They had a couple of 30 cal Browning machine guns. Just all, you name it. They had fully automatic M16s. So it's really cool. So I took the opportunity to fire that MP5, which is fun. Nice. They also have a whole section totally dedicated just to bladed weapons, knives, like utility knives, buck knives, combat knives, you name it, they had it. It was like one of the coolest stores I think I've ever been in. So I had a really good time. I made it home. I'm still pretty tired. I mean, I slept good last night in my own bed, but I'm still kind of tired. So I think I'm going to go pick up my groceries that I ordered, go home, and then take a nap. So thanks for watching my hog hunt experience, and we'll see you next time I make another video.